I mentioned in my previous video that I was going to talk about this whole plastic situation because I obviously have a reusable Starbucks cup. So I think today is the day we talk about reusing plastic and recycling. So I'm not making this video to single out people who don't recycle. I'm mostly making this video because I see a lot of stuff on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook where people just kind of go off on people who do recycle and people who do use plastic straws. We'll get more into the plastic straw thing as this video goes on, but right now, on my way to go get my coffee like I typically do. Okay, so I've gotten my coffee. It's actually been a couple hours since the last clip. I went to Starbucks, sat, did a bunch of homework. Guys, I am so close to being done with school for the rest of my life. I am a month away from having a college degree in my hands. That's really exciting. That's not what this video is about. Sat there for a while, and then I had to drive an hour to Illinois to meet my mother-in-law. She's been taking care of my puppy, who is now in the back seat, for the past week. It's been a crazy busy week. My wife is in Utah. But now that I'm finally on the road, this is going to be a car video about plastic. So I have a reusable cup, and it started because my wife first got interested in, okay, how can we use less plastic? How can we kind of do our part in this whole ecosystem issue that's been going on right now with so much plastic in the ocean? And you guys know pretty much everything there is to know about that if you've been on the internet for some time. And ultimately it started with my wife getting a reusable cup and a reusable straw, and then she got me a reusable cup and a reusable straw. And with the amount of times we get coffee in a month, it adds up to, like, all right, we're not using as much plastic as we have been in the past. Say like we were getting coffee like 6 to 10 times a month. That's 6 to 10 less plastic cups and plastic straws and plastic lids being used. Rather, we just take our own, we wash it when we get home, and you can reuse it, and there's no issue with that. And while yes, I do agree with the argument that, all right, just using a reusable straw is not going to make a difference in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's fair to shame people who are using reusable, straws and cups by saying it's not going to do much for the ecosystem, because those people are the people that are actually taking it upon themselves to do their part, and in turn, typically starting out small leads to something bigger. My wife and I started with just reusable Starbucks cups, but now we have reusable water bottles, and it ultimately led to how can we be recycling? So we went from using a ton of plastic, a ton of cardboard and paper and things like that without even really thinking about it, to now we're pretty conscious of what we bring into our home, what products we're using, and how we can be eco-friendly and recycle the plastic that we do need to use. And so it went from not recycling at all, just using plastic, throwing it away, throwing it in the recycling bin whenever we saw one around, to now products we use in our home, we are actively cleaning out the plastics we use and then driving to a separate facility to recycle all the recyclables we have. And so you can make the argument that no, using a reusable straw is not going to make a difference. But in our story, starting with a reusable straw led to us recycling overall. And it is crazy over the past couple months that we've been recycling now, like consistently. Every other week is when we take our stuff to the recycling place, because that's about how much it takes to build up. It's crazy to see how much plastic and stuff we used in the past and how much less we are using now, and the ones we are using still, or aluminum cans or things like that, we can take to a recycling place rather than just throw it away. So no, using a reusable straw is not going to be enough to make a difference, but starting there and then recycling a bit more as time goes on and learning what goes where and what can be recycled, and then taking me 10 minutes to drive it to a recycling facility to actually recycle it properly instead of just throwing it off into the landfill, that makes a difference. The amount of things we've been able to recycle and the amount of reusable products we've been able to add into our home is not making the world's biggest difference, but it's making a difference in our home and in our small community. And if everyone can start small and then become aware of what they're using and try to recycle, you don't got to be perfect at it. We don't recycle everything, because there's times where we just don't have the bin near us, or we just don't have the means of recycling something. But if everyone put in the effort to attempt to recycle what they can, that is going to make a huge difference. So this whole plastic reusable straw situation, no, that doesn't make the difference alone, but it leads to people being able to make a big difference. That's my take on the whole reusable straw, reusable cups, plastic fiasco that's going on in the world right now. Let me know what you think. You might disagree completely. You know, I have a lot of people close to me that don't recycle at all, don't care at all, because they're like, I'm not going to make a difference. And I make the argument of, you can make a difference if you actually tried. And ultimately, I believe it just comes down to how much effort are you going to put into actually taking care of our planet and pay attention to the things you're using. But you might disagree. Let me know in the comments.